Okay, I'm going to show you what I did to can some pickled beets. I'm not an expert. Here's a recipe. You can stop it and watch if you want it. It's a brine for about 7 quarts. And I use this ball multi-level cooker. Here I'm cooking the beets on the stove. And then I also, since I had about 20 pounds of them, I also cooked them right in here. You can use it for canning, you can use it for boiling, making soup, stews. Here I'm filling the sink with cold water. Those are my utensils. Onions, I like to put onions on the top and bottom. There's my recipe again. And those are some of the ingredients I use. Stainless steel bowls are a must. And now it's a matter of waiting a little bit for those beets to get done. That's kind of a little bit time consuming. I think in this big cooker, all those beets probably took about a half an hour. And there I'm sterilizing the lids. Getting cold water ready. And those are my ingredients. Those are the canning jars. I made 12 quarts of pickled beets, and then I had some extras to set aside. I put some in the freezer, and then of course we just ate some. Okay, so those beets have been cooked. You want to put a knife in there so that the knife goes in easily. You don't want to overcook them because you don't want soggy beets in your pickled beets. You want them nice and crisp, so keep watching them. You'll have to take the smaller ones out earlier. And I like to use these white onions. I slice them thin, put some on the bottom of each of the jars. Now these I'm starting to get ready to take out. I think they're about ready. The longest process in this whole ordeal is peeling the skins off and chopping them up. Nice thing about this multi-purpose canner, you can see there, I can let the water out. So that's quite a bit of water, and it's heavy, so it's really nice to have that spigot there. You can just drain the water. And I'm just taking out the beets so that I can prepare them for canning. I like to cut mine up in chunks. A lot of people, cut them up in different ways, but I don't know, I just like to do that. Now here I'm going to be boiling those jars right there in fresh, hot, boiling water. There's my beets already. You can see all the leftovers. So here I'm sterilizing the jars. I'll do a round of 7 jars. And I put it on high, on the canning, on high. And here's my prep. I got a lot of those ready. I like to stick half a cinnamon stick in each jar. That makes it really good. And a little bit of cloves in the brine is really good. Okay, so now I'm just loading up the jars. I put the onions on the bottom, fill them up with beets, and then I put some onions on the top too. And then you'll see shortly I'll pour the brine in. You might not be able to see that because I'm trying to do this solo here. It's hard to do the work and film at the same time. But then I'll get the brine in there, make sure the tops of the lids are all clean, and then I'll put the lids and the rim on there. There, I'm adding more water, bringing it up to the maximum fill line. You want to make sure you have headspace over your beets there. Now we're at a high elevation, so I have to cook mine for an extra in the hot water bath once it gets to boiling for an extra 10 minutes. So I actually bring them to a boil and cook them for 20 minutes. Now that just kind of levels everything out. And this is just such a handy utensil. I'm not sponsored by them, but I think it's a great thing because I have a glass stove top, and you can't really do hot water bath cooking on top of this stove. Now I set my timer for 20 minutes. And while that's cooking, I'll either take a break or start peeling more beets and cutting up and getting ready for the next batch. There we have it. They're out. And okay, so you want to make sure This is a cool tool. You get the bubbles out of your jars. That's an important step. You'll see some air pockets down on the bottom sometimes, and that just slips in there and gets those bubbles out. I think this is my second round, so I did 7 and then I did 5, and then the extra beets I just put in a baggie and put them in the freezer. There we go. Get the lids on. Put your ring in there to seal them. These will be cooking again for another 20 minutes. Yeah, I almost forgot to clean those lids, and then I do that, then I go around with a clean paper towel. Pretty easy. Now this is just a short video. This whole process of preparing from, just the raw beets, cooking them to the end result, I think it was about a 4-hour process, and that's two batches. So it's a bit of work, but you know what? These beets are so healthy and so good for you because of the apple cider vinegar and then all the nutrients, magnesium, and all those good minerals in the beets themselves, that I just love to have them on hand throughout the winter. It's hard to find a good pickled beet in the grocery store, and of course there's nothing like preparing homemade pickled beets from homegrown beets. So I thought some of you might find it a little interesting to see how this process is done. Oh, by the way, I wouldn't use a white dish towel. It's going to be pretty well permanently stained, but you do have to watch out, and you can see I wear those gloves because, that's just a lifesaver. Otherwise, you're going to have purple fingers for about a week. That beet stain is pretty powerful. And here you can see my setup. Now, the first time I canned beets, I didn't have that can lifter. Oh my gosh, don't even attempt to do canning if you don't have one of those lifters. They are an amazing tool and a must-have for canners. So here I'm getting this second lot in here of just 5 more jars, and I'll use, if you have one of these Instapots for hot water, that helps bring it to a boil more quickly. I like to use that as well as the hot water from the spigot. This is pretty handy because I can reach right over there and add more water to the pot. Okay, so there's what my beets look like when I get them all cut up. And there we have it. It was fun, and there's my 12 quarts of pickled beets. Thanks for watching.